Hi, my name is Brian Buckaloo and I'm the owner of Provision Studios. In today's video, I'm going to do an unboxing and a demoing of the Soundcraft Signature 22 multi-track mixing console. You can jump to the portion of the video where I do the unboxing by clicking here, or you can jump to the portion of the video where I do the demoing by clicking right here. The Soundcraft Signature 22 multi-track mixing console is an hybrid mixing desk, whereas you can record drums, guitar, bass, vocals, an entire band's live performance, what have you, directly into the XLR or TRS inputs, and then through the USB go digitally into your Mac or PC, into your DAW, whether it be Pro Tools, Logic Pro, Cubase, Cakewalk, whatever it is you may use, on a track-by-track basis, so up to 24 tracks. What you can do is then mix inside the box in your DAW, adding your favorite plugins, and then send the mix back out into the Signature 22 multi-track and add any more processing that you would, or analog sum it back to a stereo file. I'm going to get into all that when I do the demo, but for right now, I'm making room in my studio for it because it's going to be here today. Alright, we'll get to that portion of the video here next. Okay, here we are with the unboxing. It comes packed, looks pretty well packed. I'm going to pull it out. See what we got. Alright, there it is out of the box, wrapped in plastic. Power cable. And then here's the paperwork. I'm guessing it's manual. Some other things like I couldn't take it out of the bag now and put it on the desk I got for it. Okay, there it is. Laid on my desk, got a little desk for it. So I'll be able to operate it from my main computer here via USB. Here's the underside of it. I have it up on its side so you can see it basically is like in an L or a 7 shape. There is the power right there. So you have to, I guess, route that off the side here and just run it whatever side your power is. It's very heavy. This is not a light plastic piece of equipment. You can tell that it's well made. Faders feel good. Pan knob has a center detent, so you know when you're in it at 0 or it's centered. Everything feels good about it. I mean, buttons all respond the way you would expect them to. Okay, I guess all we need to do now is plug it in and see what we get. Looks about right though. I mean, I don't see any, doesn't look like anything's damaged. High pass has a center detent. No, I'm sorry, that's a high frequency, my bad. That is the gain on it. So when you're at 0 or unity on your EQs, there is a 0 to where you're not adding or attenuating the frequency. So that's nice. Okay, that's good. All right. Okay, I'm going to get it fired up
and run through my computer, so we'll take a look at how it looks inside of a Mac. I do not have Windows in my studio, so this will be for a Mac demo only. All right. Okay, here it is plugged into my computer via USB. I also have bought a USB light from Amazon, an eight bulb LED light, USB LED light. You can see that right there. Um, Power light. Obviously, when you have power to the unit, there is no on-off switch. This really is a an item that you would want to run into a power strip. And the way my studio works is when I walk into my studio every day, I flip a switch that turns all the power onto my devices. So the fact that there's no on-off switch on this is not a factor for me, or is not a negative for me. I mean, in fact, it's just it's one less thing I have to worry about messing with. Um, all right, I'm going to go inside Pro Tools now and take a look at how this interface, how this acts as an interface. All right, we'll be right back with that. Okay, inside of Pro Tools, if you go to the Setup window in Playback Engine, you will see the Soundcraft Signature 22 MTK as one of your devices. So when I plugged the Soundcraft in and started up my iMac in Pro Tools for the first time, the Soundcraft was already selected as my playback engine. Uh, Not sure if that'll be by default or if that was just because it recognized the new device. Either way, that's cool. So it no software was needed to be downloaded or installed. It recognized it. It runs off of Macintosh's Core Audio engine. So we're going with that, and I'm going to open up a session now and see what kind of playback we get. Okay, here we are inside of Pro Tools. Basically, what I've got is a song I wrote that I'm working with a couple fellow musicians that we're doing a solo project together. So I'm just going to show you how it sounds, the way I mixed it inside of Pro Tools, and then how I mixed it real quick on the Soundcraft. I did a real quick mix on the Soundcraft just to hear the difference. So let me show you what I was talking about with the Playback Engine and the I/O. Is make sure that on your Playback Engine, Soundcraft Signature 22 multi-track is selected. Then you go to your I/O. As long as up here that the Soundcraft is selected, uh, this is what your routing is going to be. If it is not, then all that means is that this is still set for your previous interface. So you would just hit default. Default will set it to the routing of the Soundcraft signature. You would do the same for output. You'd hit default, and then you would do the same for buses. For the buses, analog 1 and 2 through analogs 21 through 22 are the hardware buses for the Soundcraft, and then every other one is going to be the software buses for your DAW, in this case Pro Tools. That'll take care of that. The bus 21 through 22 is your stereo playback. That's what you're going to want to select on your main out, so you can hear playback through your DAW. You're going to want to set it up that way. Analog 2324 is your stereo print. In other words, that's going to be your return back into your DAW to record your analog summed mix that you've done. Okay. So basically what I've got my mix set up the way it was done inside of Pro Tools. And I'm just going to play that back for you now. All right, that's a section of the song that is mixed through the Soundcraft. I'm sorry, Pro Tools. Okay, the way I set my sessions up, you can see I've got vocals, guitars, my basses, my software instruments, and in this track, I just have a software drum built from samples. So it's not like a full drum kit. It's not tracked out to a full drum kit. And then I have my reverbs here. And then everything you can see is routed. The vocals go to a vocal bus, guitars go to a guitar bus, and so on and so forth. What I'm going to do then is on my stereo buses, I'm going to send them to a stereo track pair on the Soundcraft. So my bass will go to analog 3/4. Guitars will go to analog 5/6. Lead guitars, analog 7/8. My vocal bus will go to 9/10. Drum bus will go to 11/12. 13 and 14 I'm not using right now. I'm using that for something else. Analog 15/16 will be my synths. Then my effects I'm going to route through analog 17 and 18. And let's hear what that sounds like through the Soundcraft.
I think about the times that long have passed, forever seems so far away. How many times I've watched you in my mind, wondering if you've ever done the same. Come to me and tell me that we'll always be together. Until then, I lie to myself and say that we belong together. We belong together, don't we?
All right, there you go. To me, that's like night and day. I mean, I'm blown away by the quality that I'm getting out of that. Okay, I'm going to show you real quick how to do a stereo sum print. So after you've made your awesome mix in the Soundcraft and you're completely happy with everything you got, now you're going to want to print it back into Pro Tools. So the way you would do that is you would create a new stereo audio track. On the Soundcraft, the stereo print bus that routes back into your DAW is analog 2324. The stereo playback on the Soundcraft is analog 2122. So you would select that here. And that is going to give you the ability to monitor what you're printing. So you would arm your track for record, and then you would hit record in Pro Tools, and it is going to create a print track.
I think about the times that long have passed. Forever seems so far away. How many times I've watched you in my mind, wondering if you've ever done the same. Come to me and tell me that we'll always be together. Until then, I lie to myself and say that we belong together. We belong together.
All right, there's your stereo print. You would, and I've done this before in videos, showed this before. You would go export clip as files, and then this is where you would create your your stereo audio track, whether you want to wave an MP3 for you're just sending out a quick sample of the mix for approval. Again, if you're going to burn a CD, I would say do wave. You can do your 16-bit here, or if you have another software like Persona Studio One, where you intend to do more processing on, you would maybe send it out to 24-bit. I mean, either way, 16-bit 44.1K is the standard for CDs. So, and then you would select your folder here, where you want it to go, and you hit your export, and then I would export this out to a file that you could then do either upload it to SoundCloud, send to other clients or other band members, what have you. That's how that's done. All right, that's going to wrap that up. Thank you very much. I'll go to a real quick. Well, I shouldn't say real quick. There's nothing real quick about me. I'm going to go to just a wrap up way to give you my thoughts and impressions of the Soundcraft.
Okay, first impression on the Soundcraft Signature 22 multi-track. It's very easy to set up. USB into your computer, open up your DAW. On my Mac, when I opened up Pro Tools, the Soundcraft was actually selected already in the news when I opened it up, so I didn't have to go through the I/O and select anything. I'm sorry, I did not have to go through the audio interface and select anything. I did have to go into the I/O section of Pro Tools and default everything out, because it was showing my previous interface, my Sapphire Pro 40 was still showing up in my list of in and outs in my buses. So I had to hit the default on each one of those in order to get the basic layout of the Soundcraft to be present. It's very easy. It's not really hard. I was confused for about 3 minutes because I had a PFL selector pushed down, and when you hit PFL, it's sort of that is your pre-fader level testing, and the red indicator light was even lit, and I missed it. And I was sitting there scratching my head for about 3 minutes when then I realized that, okay, well, that's why I'm not hearing anything. I'm listening to a signal that's not even going through the channel that the PFL button was selected on. So I am an in-the-box guy from day one. 2005, I started in the box. This is my first venture into a true analog console. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for me, but even still, the quality that I'm hearing out of this thing, running my bass, a kick and a snare from one of my recording sessions, oh my God, it's just the depth, the fullness, the richness of it is just unbelievable. With hardly any, all I'm doing is add an EQ out of the Soundcraft's 4-band EQ. It's just it really is a marvelous piece of gear. I'm not trying to advocate any kind of website or anything like that, but on the website forum Gear Sluts, several people were talking about they were having audio issues with the sending the signal back into the Soundcraft's console and then sending it out to their monitoring. And one guy had mentioned about how he recorded a whole band and had a dropout for about 3 seconds. On that forum a while back, when someone had gotten one of these and was talking, actually he had a 12 channel multi-track. He had talked about some issues he was having, and I had mentioned to him then, now this is before I got mine, I mentioned to him then that he might want to try upgrading his USB cable. I never heard back from the guy. I don't know if he tried it. I don't know if he thought that I was being silly in my remark. But I have a premium USB cable. It's not a $5 cable from Walmart. This is a excellent high-dollar USB cable built for hi-fi audio to pass through it. I spared no expense on it. And I'm at 1024 sample rate, running audio in and back out with no latency at all, which is incredible to me because I get latency at that rate when I just go through my Sapphire. So again, I'm not saying that that's what happened with him, but I will say this to you. If you are willing to spend the money on an analog console to hybrid it into your recording interface or to your DAW and back out into the analog, the USB cable is the most important element of all of that. If you have a crappy USB cable, why are you even buying an analog device to begin with? You are greatly denigrating what the analog is going to offer to the entire chain. The USB cable is the most important connection piece between the console and your recording DAW. So if anyone's having issues, I beg you, don't dump on the Soundcraft until you at least try an improved USB. I'm not saying go out and spend $300 on a cable. I am saying try an improved USB cable, or more importantly, maybe a shorter cable. USB notoriously loses its audio integrity over cable length. So one sure improvement I can guarantee would be to use a shorter cable, if possible. Ultimately, the better the cable, the better high fidelity you're going to send that analog signal from the Soundcraft into your DAW and back out. So to me, that's just like 101 common sense kind of stuff. I don't know if anyone in Gear Sluts that is sort of telling me about these issues have thought about that, but that's just a word to the wise. To me, USB cable is the most important thing if you are doing studio recording or if you are live recording into a DAW. Good thing about the Soundcraft, it also is a live mixer. You can run this into mains, front of house. You can do a live mix right there. You can plug a laptop into it. So if in between sets you want to have live music, or I'm sorry, not live. If you want to have pre-recorded music, you can fade that in and come out through the mains. I mean, this thing is really a great device. I've got, I didn't want to say hours with it. I've been messing around for about 30 minutes, and I just wanted to add more to this video, just from what I've seen already, how great the capabilities are. The problem with the Soundcraft is not going to be the Soundcraft. The problem with the Soundcraft is going to be me. I need to get better at mixing. The Soundcraft is tried and true. That thing has been making great music for decades. People have been mixing some of the greatest albums in rock history on devices made by Soundcraft. Now, I've got no excuse. It's the gear's there. Now I can go make great music too. Again, running just my bass track, a kick drum, and a snare back through this via the USB return, I was blown away. The kick drum, I've never heard a more fuller kick drum through my stereo monitors than what I heard today when I ran a kick through the Soundcraft. The snare, I've never heard a more crisp, punchy, attacking snare than what I heard today. The bass that I ran through here, it had everything that my bass has been lacking in the last couple of years. So again, I'm never the guy that says you need to get this gear or else you can't make great music. I've mixed several albums for artists, including 2 of my own, in the box, and I would not think that there's anything wrong with those recordings. This is just a completely different world that I'm stepping off into. This Soundcraft is going to allow me to mix and record in a completely different way, and I can't wait to get started. So, if you're an in-the-box guy and you're looking at possibly expanding upon what you're doing, this may be a route that could scratch that itch. If you are an analog guy that has crossed over into the digital realm and you're wanting to get back analog, this is the best of both worlds. This hybrid console allows you to play on both sides of the fence. That's why I got it. I mean, I knew that it still had the digital capability by having the USB return. So I wasn't losing that, and I was only going to gain off of this interface. So it was a win-win for a guy like me. I can see where there would be people that this would not be right for. It doesn't have a lot of group. You only have 2 stereo pair of groups. So, I mean, you're limited there. For me, that really doesn't matter as much. I'm going to do a lot of that inside of Pro Tools. I'm going to record with this, send it into Pro Tools, do a lot of in-the-box mixing, and I'm going to analog sum back out through it to get my final analog summed master. That's my intention today. That could change 5 months from now, but the way that I intend to use it, that's sort of my mindset with that. There are no real hardware inserts, so I can see where people that have a lot of outboard gear would not be set. I mean, you can do it, you can patch it in, but it doesn't have. It's not really set up for that, per se. So, but there are definitely many benefits that I can see this analog mixer, this hybrid mixer is actually what it is, having on many home recording studios, small project studios like my own, or even people that are doing live events. This definitely is going to carve out a niche, and it's going to make a lot of the other companies rethink how they produce gear because of how affordable this is. I'm going to put a link in the description of the video to where you can find them, as well as a link to the website where I found it at. So you'll see what I was looking at and what made me decide to go get it. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments below. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. I'm getting a lot of questions from other videos I've posted, and it's really hard for me to keep up because I'm full time in my studio now, so I'm kind of trying to play catch up on all fronts. But either way, I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching my video. Subscribe, hit the like button, share the video if you feel so inclined. God bless.